Hi everyone, in this video I'll try to give you an idea about primary key and foreign key concepts, right? How primary key and your foreign key concepts works. In the previous video I think we have spoken about it, but I'll try to give you a detailed idea about it, why exactly we need this and how this is related to normalization. Now normalization is also one of the concept in databases, so that is related to primary key and foreign key. So let us try to understand that, right? So for example, I'll give you the same example about this DEPT table, that is your department table, and about this EMP table, right? If we talk about this table, department table, how many columns do we have? We have department number, we have department name, and we have location. All right, and I told you primary key is a constraint, is a set of rule that you apply on a column. It's a set of rule that you apply on a column. Now which column you want to make a primary key, that is up to you. Now you have to see whether this column or that particular column qualifies to be a primary key or not. If that column does not qualifies to be a primary key, then you cannot make that column as a primary key. Now what is the qualification to become a primary key? That column should always have a unique value, first thing. Second thing, it cannot be duplicated, right? And it cannot be null, and it should be unique, and it cannot be have a duplicate value. That's the basic property a primary key column should always have, right? Now of course department number we are trying to create, so department number will always be unique. So this is how you can create a table, and this is how you can apply a primary key constraint on a particular column. What is the syntax? Constraint, name of the constraint can be anything, primary key keyword, and then on which column you want to make a primary key. There are other ways also to create a primary key. You can simply mention primary key keyword over here, and then this column will become a primary key. So syntax is so there are many syntaxes, that's not a problem. I am following this syntax to make a primary key. You can just simply select the code and press Ctrl Enter. The moment you press Ctrl Enter, the table will be created, or you can click on this green button. So first of all you need to select the piece of code that you want to run, and then click on this green button. You can see that, or press Ctrl Enter, your work will be done. I already have the table created. Now if I press Ctrl Enter, it says name already existed, right? Name already is used by an existing object. So table is an object, right? So name is already there, that means the table has been created. I'll give you the code. You can simply copy and paste the code, select the code and press Ctrl Enter. You will be able to create the table called DEPT with the constraint called primary key constraint on department number, right? Now let me check the values. Select star from DEPT. We have total 3 values for this particular table, and you can see that the values are unique, 10, 20 and 30. Can I insert one more value? Of course we can do that. So what will be the statement? Insert into DEPT. This is the syntax that you need to follow if you are trying to insert a value or a record. Values, you have to use a keyword called values. Now I am trying to insert department number 40, and the name of the department, it's a varchar column. You can see that variable character varchar2, it's a data type, so it should be quoted with a single quote. Now for example, department name is HR, right? Simply that department who doesn't work. And then you have a location. Now location I can say UK. So since it's always a varchar column, so I can say UK in the single inverted comma. This is how you can insert a record into the table. It should be insert. Select this code and press Ctrl Enter. One row inserted. Now if you want to see the columns or the data, all the columns, you have to say select star from employee or select star from DEPT, right? So we have these 4 records. Now this department number is unique, right? It is a primary key. It cannot be duplicate, it cannot be null, and it should always have a unique value, right? Now if I try to insert this record one more time, it will give me an error. It says unique constraint violated, because primary key should always be unique. It cannot be duplicated. But if I try to insert department number 50, it will take it. So this is the crux of a primary key. Now you must be having a question, right? That we have a unique constraint. We already have a unique constraint, right? So why there is a need for primary key? Or then what is the difference between primary key and unique key? So there are certain differences between primary key and unique key. I will make a separate video for this topic only, that what is the difference between primary key and unique key, because it's an interview question. Just to give you a basic idea, that if you declare a column as a primary key, it is automatically unique, it is automatically not null. So we have a constraint called not null. So when you are declaring a column as a primary key, you do not have to declare it as unique, right? It is automatically unique by default. You don't have to say it should be not null. No, it is by default not null. That's the feature of a primary key, right? There is one more major difference between primary key and unique key. If there is a column which is a primary key, that cannot be null. By any chance, that cannot be null. But when a column is a unique constraint, okay, if a column has a unique constraint, for example, now of course it should be unique, that's not a problem, but it can be null. This column will accept the null value. But if a column is a primary key, it will not accept null values. That is a major difference. There are some more differences, we'll talk in the later video. So if I give you the basic idea about primary key, that it should be unique, it will be unique, and it cannot be null, and it cannot be duplicated. Now what is the reason to create a primary key? क्यों करना है primary key? क्यों करना है create primary key? Because when you do a query on the particular table with a primary key column, you will always be getting a single record. You will always be getting a unique record, right? So to get the unique record, or to get the single record out of a table, you will create a primary key, right? There are a lot of other reasons also, I'll discuss about it. But for example, if I say select star from DEPT table, I'm applying a clause called where clause to filter. Where clause we'll learn in the next video, but I'm just trying to give you an idea. Where DEPT number is equals to 10, right? So if I do a query on a primary key column, it will always give me a single record. It will always give me a unique single record, right? And that's the crux of a primary key. Always unique single record with not null constraint, right? So I hope you understood the concept of a primary key. Now in the next video, we'll try to understand what exactly foreign key is and how it helps you to make a join between two tables. I hope you understood the concept. Thanks for watching. Happy learning.